Welcome, everybody, to the Fareway Thanksgiving Day Parade. They said it couldn't be done, folks. They said it was all just pie in the sky. But Frank and his friends have taken Turkey Day to new heights. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
My wife and I went to go see Hamilton on Broadway.
It Ain't Right Tour 2024.
Oh my God, it is amazing. We saw it. Oh, it changed me it changed me. Now, as soon as I hear that, I'm like, I ain't gonna like this.
Sebastian Maniscalco, live on stage in Des Moines, Wells Fargo Arena, December 15th, 2024. Get tickets now at livenation.com. For more, visit sebastianlive.com.
Two guys, two Chris's, one network. Iowa Everywhere. It's time for Two Guys with Chris Williams and Chris Hassel. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery from the Channel Seed Studios. Where? Everywhere. Live and always on demand at Iowa Everywhere.
Did Murph and Andy pawn that Sebastian Maniscalco pre-roll off on us because Andy and Andrew were sick and tired of it, or what?
That joke is so funny, though.
It is.
I mean,
I started
laugh.
watching that special. It's on Netflix. That's good.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I still laugh at it every time.
I do too, and it's so true. But
yeah.
we found out not everybody thinks it's funny.
We about got canceled in our own group.
Fails and Downs.
Oh my God.
They were basically I think they were crying as they were texting.
Downs
how
was really pissed.
Offended they were by that joke.
Downs was super, super, super pissed.
But I felt the same way when Hamilton came out. Like, everybody was. It will change you as a person. As soon as I hear that, no fucking way. That's how I am. You tell me how great something
changed my life.
That it changed you into Van Woke. The Van Woke we know today.
I went to it in Chicago, so kind of like the JV squad. You know, I'm not spending Broadway money, but I'll go.
Yeah, I saw it when it came to Des Moines. It's coming back.
It was
2025. It's coming back to Des Moines.
So would you go again?
Absolutely.
But you've already seen it. You know how it ends.
I do know it.
I have a hard time rewatching movies. Like
the
only 3 movies I'll rewatch are Top Gun, Days of Thunder, and Freddy Got Fingered. Those are the only ones I'll rewatch.
So you don't ever watch a Christmas movie over Christmas? You don't watch
Only
Home
Christmas
Alone
with the
or
Cranks.
Elf? Christmas with the Cranks? That's pretty
Elite.
good. That's pretty good.
It's so good.
What are you doing wearing a stocking cap?
It's
on the
cold
show?
out, man. It is freaking cold out. I was just outside, and I am starting to learn this. Like the bald head, I usually have hair this time of year.
Uh-huh.
I don't usually shave it for this long, but I think it's just going to be me going forward.
So you're never going to grow back your hair?
I might at some point. I do that thing for pediatric cancer research, and I feel like I have to have something to shave. I feel like I have to offer up something to the kids.
Shave your pubic hair. Oh, that wouldn't work.
How was Vegas, by the way? I didn't see much content out of 𝗀cie, but did you have a good time?
It was a great time.
No
honestly.
content?
Well, we saw the video of you reacting to the Iowa State win, but that was
what were you doing? You weren't even like sitting down at the sports book watching the game. You were out on the street watching it on somebody's phone.
That's what we got brought in for, was this concert series that was out there. Mr. Stevens was up on the stage.
Oh, that was okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And I was actually at an All-American Rejects concert, like anybody would do.
You were bebopping and scatting around the stage to the Rejects.
Yeah, no, I watched the whole game up at Palms Bar Canada, there at the Big D.
Oh yeah, we love that Big D.
Yeah. Don't mean Dallas. And so we had to go down to this stage for the last like 5 minutes of the game. We're like chauffeured down there, and it was just like, this is really bad timing, but take one for the team. And so me and Ted Flint were watching it, and Aiden over my wife's shoulder, she was holding the phone. And it was a really stressful, but it was the perfect day because our whole group, Iowa won at 9 o'clock in the morning. So all those guys were happy.
Yeah. AD and Ross Peterson did a great job on Instant Iowa.
Yep. And then we had the 2 Big 12 games kick off at 12:30 that went Iowa State's way. We watched that at Stadium Swim. That was a good time. And then, we had the Iowa State game. That's Aiden's brother.
I was going to say the Iowa shirt.
I thought that guy was Joey Molinaro.
I thought the same thing.
That's Aiden's brother?
That's Aiden's brother right there. Yeah.
Look at the guy in the Iowa shirt, by the way.
That's Brock. That's Ted Flint's.
Oh.
That's Ted Flint's friend.
Okay, wasn't.
We had quite the motley crew.
Where the hell was Spopker?
Look at this dude I go and high five right there. He became my buddy.
And these girls are like, what the hell are they?
Why is everyone else like behind a barrier?
Because we're very important people. We had VIP.
Wait, is that Andrew's wife?
Yeah, that's Judy. Yep. And she's like, "Oh, Iowa State won, great." And then me and Big Papa Bear just embraced for the next.
I thought Ted was going to cry,
shedding tears.
Yeah.
No, it was a really special moment.
Where was Spopker?
He was just high somewhere. I don't know. He was probably in like a corner.
Yeah, he's not even a sports fan anyway.
Yeah, he really isn't. It's unbelievable to me. I don't think Scott watched a single game when we were out there.
That's unbelievable.
He just was gone. Like, I don't even know. The only time I saw Scotty just show up and he was wearing sunglasses all the time.
Okay.
Didn't matter where we were at, what we were doing, what time of day.
Look at him. What? Jesus. What a goofball.
Yeah. Yep. So no, we had a really, really good time because like everybody won. If Iowa State, if that dude makes that kick, there's Steven there and my buddies at 𝘀cie𝗰𝗶𝗿. If Iowa State loses, I'm a child the rest of the night. Like the whole thing's over. Like I'm going straight to my room, not hanging out with anybody.
And you're in Vegas, so it was still kind of early in the night.
Oh yeah. We were.
For me,
then we had the race. The race didn't start until 10 o'clock Vegas time.
The race. Jesus Christ. I was laying in bed in my hotel room in the Bahamas watching the end of that Iowa State game.
Did you enjoy
beat.
Atlantis?
I did. They had a sports book there that I spent some time in on Saturday watching the 2 other Big 12 games going on at the same time. That was fun. But it was a weird experience because it's another country, so I couldn't pull up like my YouTube TV app on my phone. I was thinking I would watch a bunch of stuff in my room because I'd have my app and my quad box going on my laptop or on my phone and have another game on my laptop, have another game on the TV. Well, like you can't get ESPN isn't ESPN in the Bahamas. You turn on ESPN thinking it's going to be one of those college football games. And they were showing like rugby, and ESPN2 was like cricket, and so there were certain games you couldn't watch. So I went down to the sports book, and they had every game on except the Arizona State game because again I think that was on ESPN, and they get that there somehow. So I was just following that on my phone, and what a catastrophe. The end of that thing was
unbelievable.
Keith's kid, Collins, storming the field prematurely.
That cost him the game.
Yeah. And then BYU catches the Hail Mary at the 2-yard line. Just craziness.
Yeah. Well, and I had completely shifted my attention elsewhere, and then our little group chat was the one that alerted me, so I had to go back and rewind and watch the end of that. Just craziness. But yeah, it was a perfect day as far as that goes. Like
it really was.
Couldn't have played out any better.
It really was. Yeah, even for Iowa fans, Shaggy going out there slinging it around, Caleb Johnson and Moulton running all over the place and beating Maryland. So yeah, it was fun. And then I had my game on Sunday morning.
You did great. I watched it.
Thank you. Yeah, me and Pete Gillen. Oh, Pete, he's He's the best.
He was like a
choking himself?
stand-up comedian out there.
He's like, you're going to need a neck brace for this one. It's so back and forth. You're going to be heads be moving side to side. And so he used to coach.
Is he from like Brooklyn or something like that? Okay,
and he used to coach Virginia, Providence, one other team. But he hasn't coached in probably, 25 years.
Yeah.
So the game went down to the wire. St. John's was nationally ranked coming in, and Georgia, who has a great 5-star freshman that's going to be a lottery pick, they end up winning by 3. So that was really fun. And then, I had the rest of the day just to kind of try to watch NFL games and get to the airport, and flew home. And so I went to bed as soon as I got home at 9 o'clock.
So I
just woke up. So I had a nice 12 hours.
We were delayed on our way home. We landed. I got off of that airplane.
Were you guys all on one plane?
No, the other guys are still in Vegas. I brought my own ass back. They're there. They come back today, and I was like,
oh my God,
I can't do that. I've got Maui. I've got the biggest football game in Iowa State history. I have to get back, so I just came back early. Anyways, I got back walked into my house at about midnight, and then Bloom and I still had to record our podcast.
Jeez.
So we started recording at like 12:30, and he's in Maui, so it really kind of worked out as far as all that goes. But yeah, no, I'm tired with you, brother. But this is what it's all about. I love this week. This is the best week.
I woke up today to some disturbing news about the Big 12 championship game scenarios. You tweeted it out yesterday, and I didn't see it till this morning, and I dove into it. There is a way that Iowa State wins this game and gets left out, according to the Big 12.
Correct.
If Houston beats BYU and it's a 3-way tie at the top for the Big 12 championship, Iowa State gets left out, and Colorado and Arizona State would go. So what makes this even weirder is because we were all thinking that Iowa State controlled its fate, didn't matter, win the game, they're in. And that's not the case. I mean, Matt's on MRED right now and putting in that scenario, and that is true. If Colorado and Arizona State win.
Well, there's some counterpoints to that. Like, so if Houston beats BYU, but Arizona beats Arizona State, for example, like Iowa State would.
Well,
jump.
yeah. So right. Well, that would be Arizona State losing. That would take Arizona State losing. But if Colorado and Arizona State win, and BYU beats, Houston beats BYU, Iowa State's out. And the problem is that game is late night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Iowa State's at 6:30. I think that's the 9:15 kick.
So that means if Arizona State and Colorado win, and Arizona State plays at 2:30, Colorado plays on what? Did Colorado play on Friday?
I'm not going to let you do this.
Well, hang on a second. Hang on.
I mean, I know what you're doing. I want to talk about the set on Taylor Mauser, the set of balls.
Let me just lay this out.
That's what I want to talk about.
Let me lay this out.
I want to talk about those balls.
Colorado beats Oklahoma State on Friday. They play at 11 a.m. on Friday. They're a 16.5-point favorite. Then on Saturday at 2:30, Arizona State takes care of business against Arizona. Iowa State's game is not going to be to go to the Big 12 champion. You're not going to be able to celebrate. You're going to have to wait.
You have to do the old scoreboard watch.
You will have to wait for that BYU-Houston game. And here's the bigger problem. If that all happens, BYU will be eliminated by that time. So they're going to be all deflated. And Houston's got Willie Fritz.
I'm more worried about Willie Fritz than I am. Death taxes Fritz, man.
Can you imagine, though, if that happened?
No. I don't even. Why are you speaking it into existence?
Because it's. I thought, based on what everybody was saying, all Iowa State had to do was win the damn game.
No, because remember we had the debate, like, do you want BYU or Arizona State to win? And it was like, at the end of the day, it was better to have Arizona State because it leaves you more out. Because they still could have gotten in with it if BYU would have won that game. It's just there's all these other little. As Randy Peterson wrote in his column this week, the leagues are too big. We know
they are.
By the way, there's another scenario. So if Houston does beat BYU and West Virginia beats Tech, Iowa State would also be in. So there's a couple scenarios.
I mean, there's
there.
other pathways. You're right.
Yeah,
there are.
This is what is so bad about this setup,
it's
though.
Maddening. It's
like,
maddening.
If you're Iowa State, let's just hypothetically, you go 10-2, the best season in school history, and your fate to play for a champion is completely reliant on just random shit that happened. You know, like I know that this happens in sports a lot, but this is going to be like a new thing in college football.
Yeah.
Like,
so
we're just
the other game,
obviously,
of note, is that West Virginia Texas Tech game in that scenario. And
Matt, who do we want to win that?
Well, you want West Virginia because Iowa State beat West Virginia, lost to Tech.
Okay. It would help you in the case that if BYU somehow loses, if you win out, you're in, right? Most likely. There's a couple weird scenarios, but
what time is that West Virginia Texas Tech game?
I just want to talk about Mauser's set. That's all I really want to get to.
West Virginia Tech is at 11 a.m. Central.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, look, I just didn't think that Iowa State needed any more help, and that took some wind out of my sails. I hope that by the time the game rolls around, it is for the right to go to the Big 12 championship game. If not, everybody's going to have to stay at Jack Trice Stadium, put the BYU game up on the big board, and watch it deep into the night.
Let's go. I'm here for it, baby. I'm here for it. We are presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery. By then, we will be full of turkey. Our belly's full of turkey. Matt, did you get your turkey bought at Fareway?
Yeah, I'm doing the bone-in turkey breast. I'm going to do it on the smoker.
Nice. Yeah, that's great. We're in the Channel Seed Studios. And again, can we just get to Mauser's set in that play call? I mean, my God.
Incredible.
One of the great play calls in definitely Iowa State history. I mean, so unexpected at that time. There were so many. The thing I liked about this win the most, weird game, by the way, because if you're Utah, you think you got screwed multiple times in this game, right? Like either one of these teams are going to be super pissed if they end up losing it.
Utah always thinks they're getting screwed.
Yeah, that's true. That's their whole MO. The Iowa State went in there as the aggressor, right? Go for it on fourth down early in the football game. Haycock's bringing more pressure than he normally does early in the football game. You're trying to get to the Wilson kid. But then, I mean, it's such a cliche, and I don't even know, like, the whole playing not to lose. Like, they played that freaking game to win. And that's the second game in a row where defense kind of, you had a special teams blunder, block punt. Defense lets them go down and score, which they hadn't done hardly at all. The defense had been really good. And you just give it to your offense to go and win the freaking game. Second game in a row where they've done that. And I loved it. It was, a game Utah team. I think Iowa State's considerably better than them. And that would have been a crushing blow had you lose that game.
Yeah.
With a pick six, with the block punt, with the muff punt, all those things that you did that were self-inflicted. But to go out there and get it, I mean, the vibes are high going into this week. I don't like the Kansas State matchup. We're going to have a lot of time to talk about that. But you put it on a team, man. Like, this is it. Go out and win the freaking thing, and you're possibly 2 games away from playing in a playoff.
Yeah, and hey, Army lost. So now that scenario's out. They got their ass kicked by Notre Dame. That was one of my locks, by the way. So got that.
Up, baby. And Auburn, great pick.
That was one of the things that I go back to preseason and you talking about Mauser and what kind of an offensive coordinator he's going to be and how he's going to do some different things. Like, he's an outside-the-box thinker. He's going to take some chances. And, man, in that situation, can you imagine if that thing goes wrong?
Oh.
The
yeah,
chatter
I can't imagine.
From Iowa State fans.
What are you letting your halfback throw it for?
To ruin your Big 12 championship chances on a play like that?
They did a couple series before where they got that late timeout in. They had the little trickery to $Ewell in the backfield. They were down by the goal line, but they barely got that timeout in. I don't know if you remember it, but nonetheless, it was a ballsy game plan, I thought, the whole time. And I loved it.
Like you said, play to win. You got to play to win. You cannot
pressure.
play scared in situations like that. They needed to have it, and I don't think Utah thought there was any way that a play call like that was going to happen.
No.
And it totally caught them off guard. And now Iowa State is one win away from their first 10-win season ever. So even if all goes wrong and somehow, you get left out, you still have a chance to win 10. You have a chance to beat your rival, Kansas State. And they're still in this thing too. Like half the conference is still in this thing because they're either have 2 losses or 3 losses in conference play. A lot would have to happen for Kansas State to get there, but they are still in it going into the weekend. And now it's time for Iowa State fans to nut up like Mauser. It's time for them to show the F up to this game.
6:30 kick, Fox.
Another freaking night game.
The whole season is a night game.
Going to be freezing, below freezing.
It's going to be, the feels like it's going to be in the teens at the best case scenario from what it looks like. I think the actual temperature at game time looked to be around like mid-20s. I was pretty surprised. It doesn't look like there's that many tickets left. If you go to Ticketmaster, I did a little prying this morning around the athletic department. I feel like the vibes are pretty high that this thing is going to be pretty full, all things considered.
Well, there's 2 different things, a sellout and a packed
Correct.
house.
And I care way more about a packed house than I do the sellout.
And
sellout
I worry about fans that have season tickets not going because it's Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
Whether they already have plans at home or they're traveling.
Being gone too.
The students are out, and so you have to find a way to try to fill the student section as well. I know it was like a generation ago, but I still remember.
Don't bring up the Missouri game.
The other time that Iowa State had a game to go to the Big 12 championship, the last game of the season, and I was embarrassed for Iowa State fans at the 20,000 people that showed up to Jack Trice Stadium.
I was there. It was horrible.
And all the excuses about the farmers out in the fields and come on. This is the biggest game in Iowa State history. This has been one of the greatest seasons in Iowa State history all the way. So many magical moments. And now here you are with this expanded college football playoff. You are playing basically to get into the playoff because
it's an
that Big
elimination
12 championship game becomes a playoff game. Win that and advance. So show up.
Mm-hmm.
Find a way. If you're a big enough fan to have season tickets, make sure if you're not going, someone else gets those tickets and goes.
Yeah, that's
even
the
if you
key.
just give them away.
That's the key. I think it'll be, I don't know. Yesterday morning, I wasn't feeling great about it. And then the response that I've seen, I don't know. I think it'll be pretty full. All things considered.
There should be no pretty full. That thing should be full.
I agree. That Cincinnati game, I know this is a vastly different scenario, but that was really disappointing.
It was.
The attendance for that game. And,
but that was coming off 2 losses.
I get it.
You kind of felt like you were out of the race.
I get it. This is a different scenario. Get your family, get your popcorn, get all cloned up. Go have a...
Yeah, you guys take pride in the type of fans you are.
I got a cloner right now.
What the hell is a cloner? Like a boner?
Boner. A raging one.
Raging
Put that
cloner.
on a T-shirt, please. With an arrow pointed down.
I got a cloner.
Do we know yet who's calling the game?
I'm going to assume it's Chris Myers and Robert Smith again because it's the same time slot, but I don't.
I thought
know
it might
that.
be Brando again. You know they haven't lost with Brando.
Brando's FS1. This is the Big Fox, all right?
Brando's done Big Fox too.
Brando's done all the Big Fox games.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Not last
Chris
week,
Myers
but
did
he's
it
done
this week. I don't know then. You know what? What the hell do I know? All right? Back off. We are presented by our friends at Freedom Tire.
Freedom, freedom, freedom. Tire.
You should really consider loading up on tires here before
Just
the
load
holiday-
up. I mean, if you
holiday
got extra
traveling.
space in your garage, I mean,
Yes.
clear out some room for like a dozen
You
tires.
gotta have better tires. You
Just
don't want to
stash
die
'em.
on your way to your parents' house for Thanksgiving.
If we get,
Freedom Tire.
all hell breaks loose and we're in a nuclear Armageddon, you're going to want those tires.
Do you want to die on your way to Thanksgiving? I don't think so. Go to Freedom Tire. Also, would like to thank our friends at Game Day Men's Health for their sponsorship of Two Guys here on Iowa Everywhere with Chris and Chris.
They will help with your raging cloner.
They can give you one. No, they do this deal, this little massage thing,
What?
and they rub it up on my elbow.
Your elbow. Do
It's
they rub you in other
unbelievable.
places too?
If you ask.
What?
I just asked for my elbow. No, not like that. Like with the little massage thing. So like if you got a bad shoulder or you got a whatever, and it shoots like electromagnetic stuff into you, and it loosens you up. My elbows feel completely different than they did 3 weeks ago. Honestly, they
Gosh,
do a
I
great
didn't know
job.
you had such elbow problems.
Well, I didn't until I started. I'm trying to get huge, man.
Mr. Hassel, you have 0 tea.
Game Day Men's Health with locations in Ankeny, West Des Moines, also over in North Liberty. The Maui Invitational starts here pretty soon. We'll get to Iowa football, then we'll get into some hoops for those of you who are wanting that. Good win for Iowa, all things considered. Pretty tough, pretty tough scenario with all the talk. And Cade McNamara puts out his own press release
Man,
on Friday.
What's going on?
Which that kind of like took over our Vegas chatter when that thing came out. We're like, is that directed at Hassel?
Me? What the heck? I didn't. Come on.
I think it was directed at Murph and Andy. It came out right after their show.
No.
I think that it's just people on Twitter and stuff in general. But yeah, McNamara.
Well, he mentions media members.
Well, I don't think anybody said anything incorrectly from what Iowa provided.
Yes, that's the key there,
Yeah,
Matt.
nobody's
from
transparent,
what Iowa provided.
and then they get pissed at us if we don't know everything, and it's just like, go ahead. I get so mad at this.
So you had that thing going on. You had the Jamari Harris report that he was sitting out the last several games for the draft. You had a walk-on 4th or 5th string quarterback getting his first start. You had all these things. Iowa with really nothing to play for. And they go out there and they just do what they do, which they got back to basics. They ran the effing ball.
Yeah,
like
they stuffed it down their throat.
Maryland's defense was pretty good against the run, bad against the pass. Didn't matter. Just run all over their asses. And the defense they were missing key players on both sides of the football. Their best offensive lineman was out. Obviously, Harris out on defense. And the defense played pretty good against a great passing attack and a great receiver. They did it. They did fine. And win the game, do what you're supposed to do, and get your ass home. That was, I think that was one of those culture wins for Kirk Ferentz with all the stuff swirling off the field. But the bigger story moving forward is still going to be what is going on at the quarterback position. Like, Cade says he's still a Hawkeye and that he hasn't been cleared to play, though he's been cleared to practice. Kirk Ferentz said after the game it's likely going to be Stratton again on Black Friday, which is good.
Yeah, I don't think there's much of a story here anymore. I think I think he's done. Like, he may be on the team or whatever.
So
but
what do you think happened?
I don't know. It certainly is weird how it's all played out. If you watched Kirk Ferentz's press conference on, was it Tuesday or Wednesday?
They have their press conference on Tuesdays.
I mean, I don't know everything. That's the problem with this. It's like whatever we say, we're just hypothetically throwing because nobody is. Just be transparent.
But
it sounds like Ferentz misspoke, right? He said that McNamara was cleared, and people assume that was cleared to play, but it was cleared to practice. Is that right?
What's the difference if it's concussion protocol? I mean,
Is it not? Yeah, is it
Like if you have a
non-contact practice?
concussion, you
But
can't
then
be
it
out
sounds like he
running
had a
around.
setback, so I don't know if that was the confusion with him.
Iowa
Is it-
did put out a clarification that apparently he had not been cleared to play, like Ferentz said earlier in the week.
Then
But-
it was just a miscommunication, but he's not the quarterback anymore. They're rolling with this other kid.
Well, God, I hope so, and I think that's going to be the case now because knowing Kirk Ferentz and reading between the lines of what he says, if this was what Cade says it is, I think Ferentz would have said more about Cade still having issues and being hurt. That's not what Ferentz said, and so now I think that there is some disconnect between McNamara and Ferentz. Potentially McNamara and the team. And yes, it's far too late now. Like that ship has sailed. Stratton has shown that he is a better option than Cade McNamara, just like Brendan Sullivan was.
I like Stratton.
I do too.
I really like him. I'm serious. Like I think he's really fun.
But it will be interesting to see, like Ryan points out, will Cade walk on senior day?
He should. Why wouldn't he?
And what kind of will he be dressed?
Why wouldn't he
be
walk
in
on
uniform?
senior day?
And what will the reaction be?
I would
From the
hope that
Kinnick
people
Stadium
just
crowd.
stand up and clap for him. Like there's no need to boo.
I think there will be some.
There's
that
no
will boo.
need. Yeah, there might be some, but I just he is a fascinating case study because he's the first high-profile guy. Like, is there a more high-profile spot, like in general, than being the quarterback
No.
at the University of Iowa in the state of Iowa, as far as like an athlete goes?
Mm-mm.
Right, and he comes in from this blue chip program. And the thing is, the first thing about Mac, we all knew other guys have been getting paid to some capacity. All of a sudden, we started hearing like real numbers.
Mm-hmm.
McNamara was the first guy ever where that was a thing. And then he talks a little bit, right? He's like, yeah, keep saying our offense is going to suck. And, he's doing all that stuff. He is a fascinating case study on how fans react to the guy who they now know they are paying.
Right.
Right. And it's just, I just think this is like one tiny little step. You'll hear me keep pounding the pavement. It's just like you got to, like what Whittingham did last week with Utah fans was brilliant. He gave them his playbook. Hey, you know what? We're still trying really hard. We're going to get these seniors out on the best note, but we are looking to fill half of our roster with transfers in the offseason. This is what we're going to get for NIL. He was transparent, and he got his fan base back in. That's what people want in 2024. It should be like the frickin' hot stove league for MLB for these teams. Like, that's how you get your fans engaged. You can't just hide everything from them all the time.
Well, and some of the reasons that you laid out there for why this is an interesting case study is why I think some people might boo him because they feel like they have invested money into a failure.
But you can invest
and they
in
feel
a
like
stock
they have,
and it's not always
but they
gonna
feel
go
like
up.
they have the right to boo
Yeah.
because he is a professional athlete now.
Do you
when
have-
you paid him?
Okay. Do you have the right to boo? Sure. If you paid your ticket and you're given to the NIL and you can do whatever you want. This is a free country. Should you boo the college student? I don't think so.
Ever?
I mean,
you should never boo a college student?
I don't know. One on your own team? I just think it's a bad look. And Iowa State fans do it too. I'm not coming after you, Iowa. Like,
yeah, I mean, you're right.
Booing your own team.
Has anyone ever run out for a senior day and been booed? I'm not
Right?
sure that I've ever seen that
I'm
before.
just saying, like, it's just a bad look. And because none of us know. That's the problem, right? Like, nobody, unless Kirk Ferentz comes out on Tuesday and tells us, like, and just slanders Cade Mack, which he's not going to do. I don't know. It's
And
a lot
there
of
might be
internet-
some HIPAA stuff involved too, like some legalities where Iowa, maybe Kirk Ferentz can't say what he would like to say because there are some barriers that Cade is behind because of this this concussion protocol. Randy Peterson chimes in and says They are professionals now. Don't forget that.
I disagree with that, though. Like, are they getting paid? Yes.
I think Cade should be considered a professional now because the amount of money. This isn't a guy that you threw $50,000 at.
You're right.
He is making more than the majority of fans who are in the stadium.
Yeah,
and footing his bill.
Because that's the difference. It's like, just because a guy's getting paid, does it make him a professional? Like, I can go up and down the Iowa State roster with you, and like, those dudes are not pros. Like,
I understand that, but
yeah,
when you're getting paid what Cade got, what these quarterbacks are getting.
And that's why it's so
different.
fascinating, because we got the real, or the alleged numbers. We don't know anything that's real, because all this stuff is private.
Sure, but it certainly seems as though, I'm pretty confident in saying it's between $500,000 and $1 million that he's going to get all told.
Levi says Cade is making almost as much as Brock Purdy.
Which is crazy right now. Now, Brock's got all the endorsements as well, and he's going to get that huge paycheck. We saw how bad the Niners were without him yesterday. Jesus, that might be that might be the triple B today for Van Winks, Brock Purdy, because they proved how bad they are without him.
Oh, should we get into triple B?
Is it
sure?
time?
We can do whatever we want.
Bigger, better, bolder.
Bigger, better, bolder. Built by Kelderman Manufacturing.
I'm gonna. Can I give a shout out to the Drake basketball team?
How about that?
Winning their tournament down in Charleston, the Charleston Classic, the Dogs.
And they beat some real teams out there. They beat Miami. They beat FAU. And who'd they beat in the championship game?
Vanderbilt.
Vandy.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
Give some love to the Drake Bulldogs.
Is this a 𝗀cie𝗰𝗶𝗹 situation here?
Man, I don't know, but it certainly is impressive when you look at just what left, right? Like, you lose one of the best players in school history and his dad, who's the coach, and then you bring in a D2 guy who we knew was pretty good, right? Like, this D2 guy could have been D1 a lot earlier had he wanted to, but I mean, there's some recognizable guys with Drake from last year, but it's a lot of guys who we didn't know. They go on the road. They played really good, solid team basketball. Wasn't a lot flashy there. This is great. Basketball in our state is very, very healthy right now, top to bottom, when I'll hand off to Matt Van Winkle, because I know he wants to capitalize on that.
Well, and I'll just piggyback off that with saying that Brian Harden has done an incredible job hiring coaches at that school. I mean, just look at his pedigree. It's really impressive.
Yeah, he's been great and done a great job improving the Knapp Center as well.
Yes.
And let's just be honest, those Drake Baby Blues are the best.
Baby.
Those are the best uniforms in our state.
Mm-hmm.
The Drake Baby Blues. You can't beat them.
Guys, I'm down bad. After the Niners loss.
38-10?
For what it's worth, the Vikings are 9-2. The Cyclones are 9-2.
But like you said, Hassel,
and the 49ers are under 500.
There's a silver lining here. It's that.
Hey, really quick, zoom in on that 69's helmet.
Yeah, he's got one of those. What are they?
The hell is that?
It's those. He's wearing that guardian cap things, or they put the.
It's a thing that goes over the top of your helmet that it's supposed to help even more prevent concussions.
I'll be damned.
Yeah.
Okay.
You haven't seen that? You call yourself a football fan and you haven't seen a freaking guardian cap?
It's never popped for me before. Sorry.
So if there's a silver lining to this blowout, it's that the Niners desperately need Brock and that they should pay him his money.
I'm telling you, it's not going to be good for them long term, though.
What, paying Brock?
Well, it's just, this is your window.
Well, obviously, yeah. I think they might be done this season. With all the injuries,
your quarterback,
I think they have like a 24% chance to make the playoffs now. But they're a game out of first place in the division. The NFC West is terrible this year.
It's so hard to win when you're paying your quarterback $65 million or whatever. But
they've already got a lot of these key guys locked up, so it's.
But they're all getting old, man.
McCaffrey's locked up. Kittle's locked up. Ayuk's now locked up.
I'm less worried about that.
Up.
More worried about like your line and your defensive front.
Sounds like Williams wants him to let Purdy walk.
No, I love Brock, but I'm telling, like, he would be really smart to say, hey, do what Mahomes did.
Yeah.
Like, give me an escalator. Give me a guaranteed escalator. Because
any quarterback would be smart to do that if they want to win.
they're not going to win much if they're paying him $60-65 million right off the bat.
You talk about Brock's endorsements, and I was hurting after the game, and I was scrolling Twitter, and I saw this ad pop up. I'm just going to play it for you, and it really brightened my spirits.
Are you really going to give your triple B to this guy again?
Hey, Chase. Hey, Rubble.
Hey, Brock Purdy. What's the matter?
I'm just really feeling the pressure today.
What pressure? The sky-high expectations? The worry you don't have the speed to survive out of the pocket?
Yes, that.
Then let's do the thing.
Ow.
Louder! More!
I thought you were doing women's basketball.
What the hell is going on here?
No job too big?
No pup too small.
What?
So that just cheered me up. Just cheered me up a little bit.
That's not my triple B. Brock Purdy promo in the show?
Yeah.
That cell phone company better be writing a check.
That's not a cell phone. He's promoting Paw Patrol, a children's show.
Oh, that's what that was?
Yes.
Oh, I thought it was like a U.S. Cellular ad or something.
So thanks, Brock, for lifting my spirits a little bit.
Hey, real quick, shout out to Murph and Andy's sponsor, Cellular Advantage. They helped me out with a situation last week with a Apple Watch connectivity with my daughter.
Oh, okay.
Big time guy over there, Doug. All right, go ahead, man.
Who the hell is your triple B?
So it's going to be women's basketball in the state of Iowa. Put on a show last week. I mean, UNI beat Iowa State on their home turf.
Hey, guess what? What? On this, Lucy Olson's coming on the CW pod.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's going to be great.
When can we expect that?
Next week at some point. We wanted to get through the holiday, and then we'll do it.
Okay. Well, I got to sit courtside at the Drake Iowa State women's game last night.
Nice.
So I got a front row show.
Look at this
to
guy.
This. Audie Crooks, game-winning bucket. But, man, I was really, really impressed with Drake's Katie Dennebeer. She's a West Des Moines native, went to Hawkeyes. She dropped 39 points. She went 8 of 10 from 3, 13 of 16 from the field.
Didn't she score? Is she the one that scored 40 against Iowa?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then McDermott for UNI scored like 40 against Iowa
that's
State.
what I was thinking of McDermott.
I think she put up like 36.
Hassel, you're right. This gal from Drake did the same thing against Iowa.
Wait, so, okay, I went to bed early. Mm-hmm. So Iowa State almost lost to Northern Iowa and Drake?
Yeah, it's been a rough week.
What's going on?
Iowa State kept getting up by 10, and then they let Drake come right back in. This Dennebeer, man, she brought him in every time they'd hit shots, and it came down to Drake tied it. Drake tied it with about 9 seconds left, and then they got the ball into Audie Crooks, and she scored the game winner. So,
man, it
state
just
of
makes
basketball in Iowa. I mean, the University of Iowa women are doing awesome, and they should be ranked. That's kind of a disservice.
Good discussion on Legends and Listeners last week about how and why Iowa isn't ranked. They had a good talk about that. It's ridiculous.
It just makes me long for the days of the men's teams playing these games.
Yeah. They were fun.
Because, I mean, how much would you like to see that Drake team that's rolling right now off the tournament championship play Iowa and Iowa State?
Well, good point. And I would also add that Iowa State, two top 5 teams playing tonight, 8 o'clock.
On ESPN-U.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Who do you got, Triple B?
My Triple B is just the return of the running back in football. They tried so hard to make the running back position just totally irrelevant. They grow on trees. As Pete Prisco of CBS Sports HQ says, you draft them, you run them into the ground, you kick them to the curb, and you draft another. That is certainly not the case right now in the NFL. When you see guys like Saquon Barkley, who ran for over 250 yards last night against the Rams, going from the Giants to the Eagles, and he's a legit MVP candidate. Derrick Henry going from the Titans to the Ravens. Even in college football, 𝗀𝗄𝗏𝗏𝗏. I mean, what he's done for Arizona State. Caleb Johnson for Iowa. Like, there clearly are major pluses of having a bell cow back. They tried to make it, it's just running back by committee. Nobody's going to be the bell cow anymore. It's been, I think Adrian Peterson was the last MVP in the NFL, and that was 12 years ago at that running back position. I like to see it because I do think that position was unfairly devalued. And there was this narrative that as soon as you turn 27, 28, you're done. Not anymore. What are you showing me Mike Leach for?
Just that running backs are overrated. But just wanted to get that out there.
They're not overrated.
Just
they're criminally underrated right now.
Well, look
in
at
the NFL.
Even Iowa State, like if they didn't have Hansen and Jackson this year, if you just go in with Sama.
Well, and look at years past. Joey points out David Montgomery. How about Breece Hall?
You're not. My point is with Iowa State, if the Eastern Michigan guy who hasn't played a lot lately, if you didn't bring him in, you probably don't win a couple of those games early in the year. The running back spot, no doubt. That's good. That's good. Outside the box. Outside the box, Haas.
Thank you.
Let's go to Maui. Here's your lineup in Maui today. We have Memphis in number 2 UConn. We have Colorado, Michigan State. Number 4 Auburn versus number 5 Iowa State. Somehow they're paired with one another to start the tournament. And then you have Dayton and number 10 North Carolina. This is a loaded field. Let's talk about what is a success this week for Iowa State, who obviously get a hard draw. They're a 3-point underdog to Bruce Pearl and Auburn tonight.
I hate the draw because
it's a bad matchup. It's a bad draw. Like there's no doubt.
Here's what I'm seeing. If you lose that game, you might not play another top-tier team in this tournament because you're going to end up on that loser's bracket. You're going to play Dayton, most likely.
Which that will be a quad 1 win. Dayton would be. That's all I care about.
I mean, Dayton's not ranked. They're not a power conference team.
But
and
they're
then
still really good.
You move on down the road. Let's say you win that game. You move to the 5th place game, and you might play a Michigan State or a Memphis. And
Tyrese Hunter plays for Memphis.
You might not get a chance to play
why do you always
Carolina
have to go
or UConn. I'm just
saying, like we lay this out, and then you automatically go to the worst case.
Well,
scenario.
because I don't think you can just say, 2-1 would be a unmitigated success, or even if you just win one game, that's fine, because it's going to depend on what they do in this game. This is the fork in the road here. Auburn, Iowa State. You get this game, boom, it's a success. Period.
Yes, totally agree.
Then you probably play North Carolina. Then you have a chance to play UConn in a championship game.
Will you stay up to watch the game tonight?
Boy, I think yeah, absolutely. What time does it start? 9:30
9
East
o'clock
Coast?
your time. Yeah,
9 o'clock Eastern time.
Yeah, but it'll depend on like the game before it and stuff, right?
Wait, what time does the game before it start? 6:30. Wait,
well,
what am I
actually,
looking at
this
here?
is the second session, so it'll start on time.
Okay, good.
Yeah, this is the second session. Yep.
Well,
I love this week. Feast week on ESPN when they got all the college basketball.
Yeah.
Like I was looking on the schedule today. There's games start at like 9:30 today. It's like March Madness.
Well, yeah, the game I called yesterday was at 10 Central.
Awesome. Can you tell me how good of a friend I am, too? I left the sports book. I'm at the biggest sports book in the world, and I left it during an NFL Sunday in which my favorite team was playing so I could watch your shitty-ass little game down.
What are you talking about, shitty-ass game? It was number 22 St. John's against Georgia.
It was a phenomenal game. Like, honestly, I was wildly entertained by your game yesterday.
Couldn't you have that game put on the big screen in the sports book?
I wanted to hear your voice, man.
But it was before... That game was before any NFL game kicked off.
No, I was watching the Vikings on my iPad at the same time.
Well, that was at the end of the game.
Yeah,
my game started 2 hours before the NFL. But yes, thank you for listening to me on the iPad.
My greater point is I love these non-conference basketball tournaments. I think it's great.
Yeah, this is when it starts. Like we talked about this last year. Thanksgiving week is quickly becoming one of, if not the best sports weeks of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And this week, I think, for an Iowa State fan, how does it get any better? You have a game basically deciding whether or not you go to the Big 12 championship game in football, and you have your top 10, top 5 men's basketball team in the tournament of all tournaments, the Maui Invitational, with a top 5 showdown to tip things off on a Monday night. It's the best week in sports. Because there are 2 passions in this state, college football and college basketball.
And, the football thing could be so big. Like, think about if Iowa State can win that game. Setting up for next week. Like, just think if they could make a playoff. Like, I know, like, oh my God.
What time and what day is the Big 12 championship game?
It would be December.
I'm already looking ahead.
December 6th, that Saturday, or 5th or 6th, whatever it is.
Yeah,
7th.
Saturday.
And it'd be an 11 o'clock kick.
Oh, an early game. Jesus.
Yeah, it's going to throw off our clock.
Oh.
Iowa State hasn't played at 11 a.m. in like 5 years.
And maybe this is a discussion that we'll get into more on Thursday's show when we have overtime and all that.
Actually, Wednesday's show. Remember, we're doing it Wednesday.
Oh, right. We're going to do it Wednesday this week for Thanksgiving. But I think we should discuss and maybe break down who would you rather play in the Big 12 championship game. Look, we can look ahead.
Absolutely. I hate it when fans say to me, "Don't do that.
You're going to jinx it."
No,
And
that's Matt Campbell's job, not mine.
We'll have the college football playoff rankings to discuss.
Yes.
See where Iowa State fits into that with the disaster of the SEC this past weekend.
Committee is just throbbing over these 3-loss SEC teams.
Throbbing?
Yes.
Like in a good way or a bad way?
They love these 3-loss SEC teams.
Oh, really? So you think
just
the committee likes the SEC is devouring itself?
In the next 24 hours, there'll be some sort of a leak from Greg Sankey's office on – you just watch. There's going to be some sort of a leak on how they deserve more because they play a tougher schedule, and then, they're funding the whole it'll happen. It'll happen.
Well, I think at this point, there's going to have to be a 3-loss SEC team in the playoff. Like, you run out of options here.
Yeah, it was a disaster. I couldn't believe that Ole Miss game. That was the one I thought Ole Miss was maybe going to go in there and win that thing by
Those
20.
were my 3 games to watch.
Yep.
This week in college football.
How did we
all
do on
3
our,
of them?
How did we even do on our locks this week? I need to.
I know I had a winning week.
UCLA. I think I won the rest of mine though. I've been pretty good the last 2 or 3 weeks. I went 18-4 when I was in Vegas on my bets.
Did you really?
I had a great week. Great week.
I'm pulling up our locks right now.
Pick the F1 winner. Picked a F1 fast time. Oh, it was just on.
I think I hit all 3 of mine. Utah plus 7.5 against Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
Auburn plus 2.5 against A&M.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame minus 14 against Army. Boom.
I don't even remember mine.
Lock 'em.
I had. I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't even matter. Let's really quick. I want to thank our friends at. I want to thank our friends at the Iowa Event Center. Big weekend coming up. The annual Disney on Ice coming to town. My daughters and wife are going on Saturday morning. I will not be there because Daddy's going to be pre-gaming. Not in like a alcohol way. Just I'm going to be so locked in. It's going to be disgustingly. I'm going to be a total wreck Wednesday on.
For the football game?
Yeah.
Are you going to take the RV up there for one last hurrah in the parking lot?
I don't know if I'm going to do the RV because it's going to be so cold. Like
you guys. You guys,
dude, you want to sit up there
act
without
like
water?
You are the toughest, most loyal fans in the country. All of a sudden, you get the biggest game in program history, and it's too cold.
Hey, this guy's asking us a question.
Weekend.
He's going to pay us $10 to answer his question. You want to do this? Let's do it. You can do this, by the way. You can do this. This is a new thing on YouTube. Yeah. Not your average dirt guy. Given all the parity in the Big 12, would you rather have divisions going forward? Absolutely not. I hate divisions. Divisions are how you get the Big 10 West and the Big 12
Yeah.
North. We don't more of that.
It helps with the tiebreakers.
Yes, but that's it. The divisions quit meaning something when they started doing like legends and listeners and leaders and all that shit.
Legends and listeners.
It used to be like, oh, this is the geographic teams, and then these guys, and they're all in like a pocket, and it made sense. And then they just started bebopping and scatting and just throwing people all over the place, and it lost its meaning. No divisions. Eliminate them all from college athletics.
Yeah, I think the conferences are just too big now for divisions. The only thing you could really look into are like micro divisions. Like you've heard of micro penises. You have one. Yeah.
Pods.
A micro division.
I don't. I have way more testosterone than you do. Proven.
Where you do always play 3 teams. Like there's teams at 4 pods, right? Or 4 team pods, and you play those 3 teams, and then you do that every year. And then you play, you sprinkle in, 5 of the other teams as well. I think that that's possible, but I don't think you can do divisions anymore. I don't. I'm with you, Williams. They're too big. There's too much of a risk of it being completely unfair. At least in this scenario, you're trying your best to give everybody a level playing field. And yes, it's going to come down to some really weird tiebreakers. And God damn it, if all that plays out and Texas Tech beats West Virginia and Houston upsets BYU and Iowa State gets left out, that's really going to suck. But I don't think you can go back to divisions with these conferences as big as they are now.
Yeah, I hate them.
I do think that you can do flex scheduling at the end of the year.
But the thing, like, there's no way to make this even. So I agree with you. The best thing to do would be the flex scheduling. The problem is everybody in college athletics, it's so archaic. Like, they won't do that because there has to be too much planning in advance with like I don't know how they could possibly do that. They have a lot of times these universities, these schedules are put together years in advance. Like, we know we're going to have a home game here. You take that. Right. I don't know. It would make the most sense, but what in college athletics, and specifically the sport of college football, has really ever made sense?
But, I mean, really, it wouldn't be that much different than, oh, wow, we made the playoff and we have a home playoff game. We're gonna prepare for that. We're not going to have much time, but we're going to make it happen, and it's going to be great.
Hey, I do have an idea. Do you think your dad would be my personal guest to come up to Jack Trice Stadium on Saturday night and see a championship contending team?
No.
You don't think he'd like
chance.
that?
Why don't you ask him in the group chat, see what he says. There's no chance that he would do that. He's a real puss when it comes to cold weather football. He was so cold and wet at that Iowa State game a couple of years ago. He said he'll never go back to Kinnick Stadium. So I know that he's not going to go back to Jack Trice. He's been sending me these pictures of himself lately. Like he sent this picture. He's on his recliner watching me call this basketball game yesterday. But one, he is always wearing his shoes. And two,
my dad does that too. He wears his shoes inside all the time. Yeah.
And that drives me nuts, wearing your shoes inside, especially in the wintertime. But he looks like, does he not look like a quadriplegic?
Yeah, I was thinking that
that's
too.
Like been laid out on a chair. His
legs are just flopped down there. There's no rhyme or reason. It looks like
he has no use of his legs.
You're right. I was thinking that too. That's so funny. Yeah. All right. Well, he already said no in the chat. I was going to get him a ticket and get him down on the field before the game. Take him down there.
He wouldn't even come last year for the Iowa State-Texas game.
Because he had diarrhea, right?
When I was there. What?
Didn't he have diarrhea?
No, he wouldn't come. He did not want to sit with your dad in the stands.
He made up the diarrhea.
He never said anything about diarrhea. Gonorrhea?
No, he said he had
there's gonorrhea and then there's gonorrhea.
He had the stomach flu or something.
We'll prop him up in the souk-up south end zone on a recliner.
Prop his quadriplegic
Weekend at
ass
Bernie's.
up.
Dawn. God, that south end zone is going to be so empty, and Van Winkle is going to be a raging.
Oh, because everyone's going to be inside.
Everyone's going to be inside
drinking.
those idiots. They pay up to have the climate controlled and the alcohol, and then they use it. Ugh, drives me crazy.
Just make it a free for all. Open the gates, let anybody in, bring whatever you want in.
Ooh, I like that idea.
They need to. Iowa State needs to have one
Solo
game a year
stoves.
where it's the fireball game, where anybody can just bring in any alcohol you want, just go.
But it has to be Fireball? Why is it called?
Why wouldn't you drink something nice and spicy and hot like that on a cold night?
Well,
Don is predicting 20,000 people there at most.
That's what it was like in, what was that, 2005, when they were playing for the right to go to the Big 12 championship game.
I think this will be a better.
Well, my God, yes, it's going to be better than that. There's no way that there will be fewer than 50,000 people there.
I was going to say 55. I think 61.5 is the capacity.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll turn up this week. I really do. I think most people realize what's on the line.
The student section has been awesome this year. I'm a little worried that...
That's my problem. Yeah.
It is a Saturday, which helps, but I don't think you're going to get enough people back that early.
God.
I don't know.
We'll see. Guys, this is unbelievable. See, this is why you're always going to be little brother.
No.
You got the biggest game in program history, and you can't fill the stadium.
You want me to be... I can just lie to you and say, yes, I think that every seat will be full, but I don't believe that'll be the case. I think it'll be better than what I thought it would be when I woke up yesterday morning.
Not Your Average Dirt Guy says, yes, they've sold 60,000 tickets, but again, how many people have bought tickets, likely season tickets, that aren't going to show up?
I think it'll be good. Honestly, do. I have a good feeling about it.
It better be.
I have a good feeling about it. Daddy's feeling good. Let's go.
All right.
Big week ahead. So our next show will be on Wednesday morning. We'll do it at 8:30. We'll have Wild Rose Casino overtime, all that good stuff. What?
Just got a funny text from a former coworker who's watching us.
Yeah.
That says, there used to be a flannel that was always hanging around the Channel 13 sports office.
I've worn that flannel.
Have you?
Red and black one, yes.
Yeah, it's red and black, and I wore it in a few skits, but I'm not going to say the person's name, but he says that Williams is wearing the gay version of the old flannel in the sports office. And he's allowed to say that because he himself is gay.
Good for him. That's awesome.
I wore that flannel. You remember the Kansas football game that was like 20 below zero, Williams?
Oh, God.
I shot that for 13, and I just put any layer in the sports office I could find.
You know what I remember about that game? Kansas was like 0-9, or they hadn't won a game in God knows how long. And I used to do this deal where I would always walk the field before the game, and I would do a Facebook Live. This is back when we were really cutting our teeth in all the streaming stuff, and I would do it.
Why don't you do that anymore?
I don't know. I should. I really.
Did you stop it when the Iowa fan threw the beer can at your head? Is that what made you stop?
No, I don't know why I stopped doing it. I think I stopped doing it because we started broadcasting to other forums. It wasn't just hit live on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now we're on StreamYard, and it's a little more difficult to whatever. And these idiots from Kansas, this was like legit like 10 below. Okay, this wasn't anything close to what it's going to be on Saturday night. These guys haven't won a game in 3 years, and half their team is out there without a shirt on in like just their pants, just warming up an hour before the game. And I'm like, what in the hell does that prove? What are you laughing at now?
Just some of the comments. Mike says that you look like the gay, brawny paper towels man.
Oh, by the way, last totally this Kelderman FaceTimes me on Friday, and I'm with Andrew Downs. I don't even remember. We were just sitting at the bar. Kelderman FaceTimes me, and he's at an Aaron Lewis concert. That's that guy.
Oh no!
Yeah, Kelderman FaceTimes me when he's singing the song about he ain't made in China. And it's hilarious because Kelderman's, probably drinking. And all I hear is him in the background going, "I ain't made in China either, God damn it!" And and it's Aaron Lewis, he's backstage at this Aaron Lewis concert. It's just
unbelievable.
And the funny part is, I'm sitting with Downs, right? That ain't his vibe. That's not his vibe, right?
Have Downs and Kelderman met each other?
Oh yeah, they're good buddies. I got Kelderman doing some work with 𝗀𝗙𝗃 marketing.
I'm glad we can all just get along.
Yeah, I'm a chameleon. I just blend in.
Hey, Van Winks, you found a picture of you with the flannel on.
There's the flannel. 40 pounds heavier than that.
That's from my college days.
Jesus. You got your Cyclone Fanatic hat on.
Yeah, look at that, the old CF hat.
What year was that, Van Winks?
2013.
Okay, so you took over that sports office flannel right after I left, because I left in December of 2012.
All right, anything else, Matt? Any housekeeping we need to hit here that I may have skirted past? I think we're good. I think we're ready to go. So Murph and Andy will be live today at 1, like normal. I believe they were planning on doing a Black Friday show, but I don't know. We'll keep you updated on that. I will have a CW pod tomorrow.
I think you should dictate to them what they need to do, like when they should work.
By the way, we should promote this. Andrew and Ross Peterson will be live in Iowa City doing a pregame show.
What are they?
At Buffalo Wild Wings.
Our cute new duo on Iowa Everywhere now? I missed 1 week of Instant Iowa, and all of a sudden Andrew and Ross Peterson are a couple?
Yep. We'll have more details on that on our socials this week.
But Andrew, he's still going to do Instant Iowa with me, right?
Yes.
Or have I been booted?
Well, honestly, worst case, I could just jump on with you because I'll be around here Friday night.
Okay.
I could react to that game. That would be easy.
I think Downs told me last week he was planning on doing it with me.
Yeah.
So
well, and like I've said, no Iowa fan wants to hear me do a post-game show. That's the last thing these people want.
It would just turn into a preview for the Iowa State game the next day.
Yeah, it is the last thing anybody wants. Okay, so anyways, thank you very much for hanging out with us here on your Monday morning. I know you guys have a lot of options. We appreciate you hanging out with us here on Iowa Everywhere. For Matt Van Winkle, for Chris Hassel, my name is Chris Williams. We will be back on Wednesday morning.